Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Alcini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. Our topic today, the power of adaptation, thriving amidst constant change. I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be representing Dr. Jacqueline as your host for USA Global TV and Radio's flagship show, A Woman's Prerogative. I'm a TV presenter on the channel and also the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio. A very warm welcome to all of our viewers and our friends at E360 TV, and hello to all of our friends on our usual social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and X. Dr. Jacqueline, our wonderful founder and executive producer, she has been awarded the coveted award called the YouTube Silver Creator Award for achieving over 100,000 YouTube subscribers. We have over 106,000 YouTube subscribers on our main channel, and we also have over 35,000 YouTube subscribers on our second YouTube channel. Thank you to all of our subscribers for being there and supporting us. I am warmly supported by our full-time resident panelist, Reverend Lydia Fougeres. She comes all the way from Canada. Reverend Lydia Fougeres, she is also a TV presenter and has her own show, and that's in French. She's also an author in bilingual self-help books. She's a registered nurse and a holistic nurse. She's an intuitive and spiritual healer. She invented and patent-pending Miracle Mist, and she's also an advocate for free rise. Please welcome our wonderful full-time panelist, Reverend Lydia Fougeres.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Please do share with our viewers a little bit about what you do, Reverend Lydia, and your speciality in terms of how you help people.
Well, I help people. First of all, I celebrate weddings. I also help people when it comes to their healings, but also their spiritual healings when it has to do with love, because people have trouble with their love problems. So I do help them with love. I also help them understand what is going on with them, because as a holistic nurse, I go through from I go into the global problems. I go into all the environment. I also am a Reiki healer also, and I'm an author. I do programs from my books, my 2 books that are now in French, English, and Spanish. So that is pretty much what I do.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. And for me, I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert, and I help people bust their stress. How do I do that? I work with root cause therapy and chakra psychology, how the mind and body connects and what happens to the person physically, emotionally, mentally, and behaviorally when there's an imbalance. And the imbalance is the symptom, whatever they're complaining about. And some people walk around and they say, I'm not stressed, but then they're complaining that they didn't sleep last night, or they're complaining about a relationship or a situation that they're in. And it's usually that's causing their stress. That's how it's manifesting in their lives. And I also do lunch and learn talks, both in person and online. And I help people globally, online and in person. And I look forward to helping you bust your stress when you are ready. I'm also a TV presenter here and have my own show once a month, which is a Talking Heads show. So I'm one of the Talking Heads experts, and that's once a month, every last Thursday of the month. And I'm also the host for the show, A Woman's Prerogative. Please, let's welcome back our wonderful full-time panelist, and let's move into the topic. And just thinking about change, it's just one of those things that's certain. If we can be certain of anything, we can be certain of change, because it's constant in our lives. We are never standing still. There is always change in every aspect of our lives, in our personal, with our family, with work, and even with global events that shape the way that we live and think. And tonight we're going to explore the impact of our decisions, our emotions on relationships, and how resilience and emotional intelligence help us to adapt and thrive in uncertain times. So Reverend Lydia, for you, it's a big topic, change. And change can be very small and it can be really huge. It can be something that's global, and it can be something that's in the family or something that's at work. It can happen everywhere. If there's one thing, that we know for sure, change can happen at any time. So personally for you, how would you respond when plans change at the last minute?
I do not mind. Actually, when the things change, I adapt. I adapt very, very well. And I like change, by the way. So the thing is that when I was a nurse, I used to change the floor all the time because I was bored. Staying on the same floor for me was boring. So I'd go from ICU to emergency to psychiatry to gynecology, whatever. I like change. So the only thing I do not change is life partner. The only thing I am sure about is I do not like change when it comes to my life partner, but in life, I love changes. So yes, I adapt. I just love adapting. So that's where I am.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. And for me, I really agree with you. Adaptation is the best policy. And I can really reflect on that in terms of when I was in marketing and PR. I used to do a lot of contractual project type work where there was what I would deem as no honeymoon period. When you just get a job and you're there and you have like a slow start and a honeymoon period where everything can be a little bit slower in pace. But when you're a freelancer and you go in that has a project, a beginning, a middle, and an end, you have to hit the ground running. And I thrived in that environment. I thrived in the constant changeability of working with different clients and different chaotic situations and bringing them together. So it's one of the things that when people told me that they were worried that a new plan was going to come in and there was new systems that were going to come in, I always thought, well, what's the problem? Why are you worried? And it was because they had time to think about it and time to worry about what was going to happen. Whereas if you are a freelancer and you're in there on the coalface having to deal with change straight away and be adaptable and be in a company and just hit the ground running. And that's what I would say that I was really good at, hitting the ground running. So, Reverend Lydia, what are your thoughts about what I've just shared in terms of hitting the ground running? And yet still, I think that I thrived on the fact that there was a changing pace, because it kept me very agile and thinking on my feet.
Well, change is exciting, actually. It's a challenge. We have to challenge ourselves, and we have to be at our best when there's change. So it keeps us alert. It is good, and it is it's so exciting when there's change. So when there's no change, we get bored. So I do not understand people that decide to have this 9 to 5 job where they do exactly the same thing for 40 years. I do not understand that because there is absolutely no change in that. But when I was young, my grandfather used to say, "Don't worry, it's called progress." So
I
my
love
grandfather
that.
was very wise. So when there was a change, he used to say, "Sweetheart, it's progress."
You know, there is a saying, and that's really made me laugh, because there's a saying, if you're not changing, you're dying. If you're not thriving, you're dying. And I think that that's we become complacent if we're so used to something. And I've spoken to a number of people in organizations that are tech organizations, and they've told me that they've been in a role and a company for 40 years or 20 years, and they're now suddenly made redundant. And I just wonder how they're going to cope with a change, and how they're going to cope with a different company with different systems and different technology and different ethos and culture. I wonder how difficult it's going to be for them. What's your biggest change that you've ever had to adapt to, Reverend Lydia?
Well, the biggest change I had to adapt to was not a good change. It was from nursing to being in bed. So that was not a good change for me. So I had to be from a very exciting life to a life of meditation, constant meditation, 24-hour-a-day meditation. But I did adapt. So it was not the kind of change that a person would say is positive, but it turned out to be positive because, I saw life differently. So from a person that was always, doing something really fast, I had to change to a very, very slow pace and to live like that. And actually, it's a blessing in disguise. So it was the major change in my life when I started to be very ill, but a blessing in disguise. And I would not change it. You see, I'm talking about change. I would not change that change because I became a different person.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia, for your vulnerability and your transparency. That is really highly commendable. And I so get what you're saying about change from the perspective of a sickness, because we have to change, we have to adapt in those circumstances. And I can resonate with that fully, because that's what made me change from being a full-on PR and marketing guru and doing all sorts of wild and wonderful things and being on the champagne soirees and doing the breakfast, lunch and dinners to moving into a space of depression, and didn't even realize I was in it. And that moved me into doing the work that I do now. But my biggest change is not too dissimilar from yourself, because the biggest change that happened for me is going from being employed to being self-employed. Being employed from the perspective of the fact that I had holiday pay, I had sick pay, I had bank holidays. I had, if the printer broke down, I would have tech support, and I'd just make a call and tech support would come. And the printer was there, and the paper was there, and all the stationery was there. And if I needed to do something and ask that I didn't have knowledge of, there would always be somebody there to go to. And there would always be a lunch break and a tea break. And when I became self-employed, all of that disappeared. Absolutely everything the whole structure of that support system of having everything at hand completely disappeared. And then I was responsible for the printing. If the computer broke down, I couldn't call anybody. I had to either deal with it myself or call someone and pay them. That was the other thing. I was paying a lot of money for things that I took for granted while I was working for a company. And then suddenly I was responsible. So it was a very challenging time. And I remember when I was married, my then husband, he was self-employed, and he would always work bank holidays and weekends because he said he could get more done. And I remember saying to him, I will never become self-employed because you become boring and you work on weekends and bank holidays, and I want to have fun. And there I was, not long after us getting married, that I went self-employed and worked weekends and bank holidays. So I think that I really adapted to that change, and that change in circumstance with thriving in it, because it was something that I wanted to do. It was something that I was passionate about. And that brings me on to my next question, Reverend Lydia. Do you see change as exciting, stressful, or both?
Both. Both, absolutely both. Because there's always a little bit of stress when there is change. There is always, you always wonder if you will be able to adapt.
Absolutely.
Because change, yes, you know, it's impossible not to ask yourself, will I be up to it? Will I be able to do it? Is it a good move for me? Or things like that. Someone that does not ask themselves those questions, well, they're not responsible. That is a proof that they're totally irresponsible if they just jump in a situation without asking themselves, will I do a good job? Will I be good enough for my new responsibility? So I do think that there has to be a level of stress to change.
I totally agree with there is that. It's the unknown, I feel, that causes the stress, the unknown of what's going to happen in that change. And at the same time, when you achieve from the unknown, I feel that that gives an exhilaration. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are proud of ourselves.
Yeah, because it's a big achievement when you've gone in there not knowing what it was going to turn out like, and then come out smelling of roses, so to speak, and doing really well. So we're actually now at the point, that 20 minutes has gone really quickly, at the point of our first commercial break. So please, if you're on the live or the replay, please come back. We're just going to break for a short commercial break, and we will continue our conversation, continue exploring the power of adaptation, thriving amidst constant change. We'll see you very soon.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hello and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. You are with a Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. Welcome back if you're here on the live or the replay. The power of adaptation, thriving amidst constant change. We've been exploring this topic in terms of how we respond versus how not to respond, and it's actually been quite positive. So let's welcome back our full-time panelist, Reverend Lydia Fougeres, to continue the conversation. Thank you very much, Reverend Lydia. So do you believe adaptability, can't get it out. Do you believe adaptability is something that we're born with, or is it something that we learn?
We are born with it. We are actually very born with it, because the thing is that from the moment we learn to walk, we adapt. From the moment we learn to talk, we adapt. So we adapt to whatever the situation. If our parents are this and that, we always adapt. So we are born in a situation where we can adapt. There is a level of adaptation for everyone. There are people that cannot adapt very well, others that adapt in 5 seconds. It is just that everyone can adapt. It is just at what pace.
I totally agree with you. And bringing up when we're children, when we're born, it's so interesting to consider that as a baby and as a young child, there's just nothing we can't do. We're only limited by the people around us that say, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do the other. But children, if they're born into a musician family, for instance, they will start playing instruments and sing, not because they've been told that they can't, but because it's all around them. And so they are seeing it, hearing it, and then that's the path that they generally take. And if you've got a family of doctors or lawyers, for instance, or surgeons, or sort of a family of different types of specific professions, I always find that I see that the children seem to follow suit in some way, unless they're rebelling, of course. Then that's a bit of a different case. But just thinking about rebelling, what's one change that you have resisted at first, but then realized it was positive?
My grandparents' wisdom. My grandparents were very, very wise. And as a teenager, I was the one racing snowmobiles. I was always in the woods fishing, doing things like that. But I was a very good student, though, and I was a bookworm. But at the same time, my grandmother and grandfather, they really wanted me to calm down. The snowmobile races were too much for them. They were scared for my life, and I resisted a lot. I did resist a lot. So they had a lot of gray hair because of me. But finally, I realized my grandparents were extremely wise, and I stopped resisting them. That's pretty much the way I stopped resisting. Yes.
It's really interesting, isn't it? When we resist something, it actually persists. The more we resist something that we don't want to do, the more it persists and becomes bigger. And one resistance that I had was when I was living with my family in Birmingham. I resisted moving to London with my then fiance. And I resisted for 3.5 years. I just did not want to leave my family and my friends and my social environment, because I had a really good network and I had a life. I had a big life and a busy life. And I was really known. And it was just such a big deal, because I was in PR at the time, and you're only as good as your contacts. And I didn't want to start all over again. And I resisted like crazy. And then in the end, 6 months before we did get married, I eventually decided, well, okay, and the project had come to an end that I was working on, and then I was looking for another project, and I landed up finding my next project in London. And then I landed up staying in London for 24 years and only 5 years in marriage. So I really resisted like crazy, and yet I built a life, I built a business, and I built strong communities and strong connections and had opportunities I never would have had the privilege of getting and participating in if I'd have stayed in Birmingham. So I resisted it like crazy, and yet it was one of the most positive moves I'd ever made, because it made me buy a property, and now I'm mortgage free. So it is definitely something that I didn't think was ever going to be possible, and I didn't think that I would ever consider it working in London. So that brings me on to my next question, and that is how families can support each other when they're faced with unexpected changes.
Families, yes. Well, families can support one another, that is for sure, because change is difficult. I know I am in a situation where I am living with my life partner, but I still kept my place in the city. And my daughter keeps on saying I'm holding to my past life. So I'm living at two places at the same time, but I do not have to do it. And the thing is that I still hold on to my place in the city. And I am in the country, and I live in a dream place, 54 acres, and we are happy. And I have everything I need. It's a very large house, and I still want to be in the city where my things are, but my family tells me, do it, do it, and I will do it. I will do it because I am there now. I am there, and I am sure. So I am doing it. I'm in the process of doing it, but it is a major change for me, and I am adapting, and I'm doing the right thing, like you did when you moved to London. I am doing the right thing by moving here.
It's fascinating, isn't it? You know, that resistance and holding on. I so appreciate and respect the fact that you're wanting to hold on to your city, and you know, you're talking about city and country, and that's the idyllic, isn't it, to have both? And I've known many couples not move in together and still keep their separate residences, but stay together, you know, in the different residences. So one in city and one in country. And I've known many couples that have done that in times of the fact that it might be difficult to sell a property, or that even when I've had clients that have been separated or divorced and they're still living in the same house, which I can't even imagine how that would be. But and they're adapting to that change of being together, but then being in a different together way, you know, separated and living their own lives. But you're describing something that's a good thing. And yet I totally get that if you've had that independence, it would be quite nice to just have your foot in that hole as well, until you feel completely okay about letting go. And that brings me on to, it is a letting go. When we've got our foot in both camps, it's, are we ready to let go of the one lifestyle versus the other lifestyle? And that's the adaptability. You know, are you ready just to embrace one type of lifestyle only, or is it quite nice to have that adaptability of change, that you can go to the city, you could both go to the city and have fun? So I really strongly admire the fact that you are in that quandary of what to do and how to go about it. So thank you for your transparency, and thank you for your honesty and sharing that difficulty, because I so get it. In one word, how would you describe the best way to handle a workplace challenge?
Be resilient. I said 2 words.
Yeah, I would say that that's the case in our changing working environments, and the working environment has had so massively had to change with the fact that, you know, work from home policies, people now, you know, the day has got longer because they have mobile phones, and they're expected to work over and above the time that they're actually in the office. I feel that resilience is the only way that we could work in that changing environment. We've had a lot of change to cope with since our world changed in 2020. So what's more important in change? And I'm looking at planning or flexibility.
I think it's flexibility is more important than planning, because the planning comes, but we have to be flexible, because no matter the planning that you did, there are always things that happen that change the plan. So you have to be flexible, because if you actually stick to the plan and you are adamant about sticking to the plan, a person has a problem. They have to be flexible. So I say be resilient, be flexible, and adapt to change. That is the way I see it.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. I'm in total agreement with you, because if you are stuck in a plan, then you are stuck in only going one way. And this is one of the problems of large companies that have huge processes and protocols and huge lots of people to go through, and red tape and tiers of management. They find it very difficult to adapt to change, because it's inflexible when you have to go through all that red tape. And so in the planning and execution of that plan, it reduces the flexibility and adaptability to change. So I'm quite in agreement with you. And this is how small and medium-sized companies do really, really well, because they haven't got as much red tape. They haven't got as many tiers of management. And it's easy to make a decision at the board level and then execute it in the next hour or the next day. So I firmly believe that when we are tied to a plan, then it's far more difficult to then adapt to any changes. And many companies and managers and teams have had to change in our changing times. So how can we ensure that leaders make change less frightening for their teams? Because let's face it, lots of change has happened in companies. What are your thoughts about what a leader could do when there's change afoot?
They should listen to their employees to start with, because every employee is different. So there are employees that can change, some because there is psychological problems also when there is too much change. So they have to see what employee is suitable for change and who is not suitable for change. If they want to have a good company, they have to choose the people that are included in changes.
Thank you. I'm so in agreement. We're agreeing on everything here on the show
Yes.
today, because listening, if we don't listen, then we don't know. And if we assume, that makes things difficult and challenging. So if we listen and then we are open to change and open for flexibility, that actually creates more flow for everybody. And you're quite right in saying that some employees find it hugely challenging to change one system to another. And I would say that the people that are probably quieter or more compliant and policy driven type people, that are much slower in the systems type activities within the working environment, would find it difficult to adapt to different policies. And we've had to with all sorts of different laws that have changed and adapt. Certainly from the UK perspective, we've had a hell of a lot of change with Brexit and going in and out of different countries and having to have different passports. There's been huge amounts of legal and philosophy change and culture change because we've been able to move very freely. Well, we're really at the end of our show. I can't believe that we've just covered another 20 minutes. So Reverend Lydia, please do share with our viewers the best way to contact you.
Well, the best way to contact me is through WhatsApp at 1-514-582-6882. 1-514-582-6882. One is the code for Canada. They can write to me at greatdivinemother@gmail.com. They can join me through my Facebook page also. And they can, or through LinkedIn. They can find me through LinkedIn. So there is also my Amazon page where they can buy my book, 111 Reflections for Thy Earth Odyssey, tomes 1 and 2. So through my Amazon account, they can also follow me and join me through my Amazon account. So that is the way to join me. So anytime.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. It's always a really wonderful experience to share this show with you. And in closing, just before I share my details, change is rarely comfortable. Often the space where growth begins, as we've been sharing tonight. Choosing resilience over fear and curiosity over relationships, we can turn life's uncertainties into opportunities to thrive. Let's continue to adapt and flourish in a world that never stands still. Thank you very much, Reverend Lydia, for being an amazing panelist and sharing such incredible insights and very personal shares. It's very appreciated because our viewers will learn from that. You can reach me on No More Stress at live.co.uk or call if you're international +44. If you're local, 07523 120 189. You can follow me and connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. And you can also check out the other videos on YouTube on USA Global TV and Radio. I've really enjoyed tonight's show because this title came up because at the last minute I had to adapt and change and came up with the title last night because I had to adapt to a change in circumstance. So it's incredible how life throws you curveballs and how we can make them in opportunities. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're here on the live or the replay. It's been our pleasure and our gift to be with you tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week. In the UK, it is a bank holiday Monday. That's next Monday. And in the UK, it'll be 7 p.m. British Summer Time or 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a wonderful week, whether you're here on the live or the replay. We will look forward to connecting back with you on Monday next week. And over now to our sponsors. Thank you very much to our wonderful executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, for her amazing Wizzy effects, and also to our full-time panelist, Reverend Lydia Fougeres. We will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradioshoп.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Ever dreamed of hosting your own TV show, sharing your story with a global audience? Now's your chance to shine. At USA Global TV and Radio, we make it easy for you to create, host, and broadcast your very own TV show. Whether you're a storyteller, entrepreneur, or industry expert, we help you bring your vision to life. With our exclusive interview, live streaming, and podcasting training, you'll gain the skills and confidence to captivate your audience. Our global platform ensures your voice is heard worldwide. Join our community of creators who are already making an impact, one show at a time. Step into the spotlight. Host your own TV show on USA Global TV and Radio. Book your discovery call today at usaglobaltv.com. Copyright 2025 USA Global TV and Radio. All rights reserved. Terms and conditions apply. To learn more, visit usaglobaltv.com. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting. We're building bridges and changing lives, one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.